What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Namaste and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm going to react to the best of Dr. S Jaishankar. This I was sent on my Instagram, this video by one of you guys. Much love, I appreciate that. Let's check it out and tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Let's get it. Let's go. When democracy will settle it, and you know which one.
Look, I think it's an interesting point you raise because historically, there is a reason why West and democracy were equated. But over a period of time, I think the West needs to outgrow that because today, more people live in non-Western democracies than in Western democracies.
Oh.
So, still, we are all creatures of habit. So we use shorthand formulations even if they are anachronistic.
Wow.
So I take your point, but I think part of Westlessness is a kind of, the West has to understand this larger rebalance, as I said, the rebalancing. The fact that even democracy today, there are people in other continents who own it and claim it as strongly as people in Europe or North America do.
Facts.
I'm part of the East, I'm part of the South, I'm part of the West, I'm universal. I'm India.
India is universal.
I end every discussion at home about war and democracy and why it matters. You got China who's trying to shut down everything close to democracy, and India, you're moving forward, you're having elections, you got your problems like we do at home, but you've chosen the democratic path. When it comes to Kashmir, I don't know how it ends, but let's make sure that two democracies will end it differently. And if you can prove that concept here, then I think is probably the best way to sell democracy.
Don't worry, Senator, one democracy will settle it. And you know which one.
Yo, that was...
You know why I wanted to interrupt you in a way.
Okay, let's go,
I'm partly reacting to the previous observation. Somewhere Europe has to grow out of the mindset that Europe's problems are the world's problems. But the world's problems are not Europe's problems. That if it is you, it's yours. If it is me, it's ours. I think that's something, and I see, reflections of that. Again, in terms of, there is a linkage today which is being made. A linkage between China and India and what's happening in Ukraine. So come on, guys. China and India happened way before anything happened in Ukraine. So the Chinese don't need a precedent somewhere else in the world on how to, engage us or not engage us, or be difficult with us or not be difficult with us. So as I said, I just see this as frankly a not very clever argument, a very self-serving one. This idea that, your grand strategy must be about how you will choose. I will do what, as all of us do. I will weigh the situation, everybody, after all, how do countries eventually make decisions?
Mr. Jaishankar, there will always be two axes at this point. I think it's an understood, accepted fact that you have the West, US-led, you have China as the next potential axis. Where does India fit into this? But are you planning to not pick a side?
No, I'm sorry. That is exactly where I disagree with you. This is the construct you are trying to impose on me, and I don't accept it. I don't think it's necessary for me to join this axis or not, and if I'm not joining this, I must be with the other one. I don't accept that. I think I'm 1/5 of the world's population. I am today the 5th or 6th largest economy in the world. Forget the history, civilization bit, everybody knows that. But I think I'm entitled to have my own side, I'm entitled to weigh my own.
We take up human rights issues when they arise in this country, especially when they pertain to our community. Whenever there is a discussion,
that was huge.
I can tell you that we will not be reticent about speaking out.
If you are looking at energy purchases from Russia,
I would suggest that your attention should be focused on Europe.
The way he speaks.
No, we did not discuss human rights during this meeting. Let me put it to you this way, so that there's clarity about where we stand on this matter. Look, people are entitled to have views about us, but we are also equally entitled to have views about their views and about the interests and the lobbies and the vote banks which drive that. Whenever there is a discussion, I can tell you that we will not be reticent about speaking out. I would also, just so that I round off that point, tell you that we also have views on other people's human rights situation, including that of the United States. So we take up human rights issues when they arise in this country, especially when they pertain to our community.
Man, I like these answers, I'm telling you.
And there are a number of reports suggesting that Moscow and Delhi are trying to work out some sort of currency exchange for future energy purchases.
If you are looking at energy purchases from Russia, I would suggest that your attention should be focused on Europe, which probably we do buy some energy which is necessary for our energy security. But I suspect, looking at the figures, probably our total purchases for the month would be less than what Europe does in an afternoon. So you might want to think about it.
That one is always just on
Why
point.
not condemn Russia's invasion? Wouldn't this best reflect India's foreign policy goals and international standing?
First of all, thank you for the advice and suggestions in your question. I prefer to do it my way and articulate it my way. We have made a number of statements which outline our position in the UN, in our parliament, and in other forums. And briefly, what those positions state is that we are against the conflict, we are for dialogue and diplomacy, we are for urgent cessation of violence, and we are prepared to contribute in whatever way to these objectives. We're also addressing the humanitarian situation. In fact, we have the Ukrainians have been in touch with us especially for the supply of medicines. I think a big concern we have, and not just we, I think the world has, is of energy security, of rising prices, of increasing premiums, of limited supplies. So today you have to understand it is a legitimate concern of countries to ensure their energy security. But an equally big worry, which is emerging, is of food security.
Facts.
Russia has more and more aligned with China diplomatically, economically, and militarily. How much are you concerned about their alignment in terms of India's national security? This
seems to be my day to get a lot of advice and suggestions from the press. So thank you for joining that. But look, we watch what's happening in the world like any country does, and we draw our conclusions and make our assessments. And believe me, we have a decent sense of what is in our interest and know how to protect it and advance it.
My remarks today are really focused on those sets of issues which, in a sense, you could say, how does India relate to the West? How does the West hopefully relate to India? And where do we go on from here? Now, many of you would have heard in another country the term century of humiliation. Okay. India actually had 2 centuries of humiliation with the West, because the West kind of in its predatory form came into India in the mid-18th century and continued almost exactly for 190 years after that. And it was interesting, I think a year ago, there was actually a very serious economic study which tried to estimate how much the British took out of India in value terms. And a very calculated math ended up put a number of $45 trillion at today's value. So that should give you a sense of really what happened in those 200.
Wow, 45 trillion. I mean, just look at it. 45 trillion. I mean, we can talk about this. A lot of countries can actually come in and talk about this, and if you bring it all together, it will go over. I can say it will go over 200, 100 trillion, bro. But and even now it's still happening, man. It's still happening. The reason why I talk at the end is I don't want to interrupt even myself in between, like the video clips, because this was like a compilation of the videos, like when he was just on point and responding in some crazy and just sharp way. And I mean, it's been really great reacting to some of his videos. Hopefully, I'll move to be one of those people with mind. Obviously, I can't reach that, but it's just good to have a mind like that, an open mind, a diplomatic mind that is just uh, that works out things fast, takes it in and just know, okay, this is where I have to hit, this is how I have to answer and all that. That is beautiful. Otherwise, you guys tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I appreciate you all, much love, and I will see you next time. Take care. Peace.